I have lifelong anxiety. I've always been the guy who is thinking about what could go wrong. And that served me really, really well in business. Like I always think I'm scanning the horizon for icebergs. And in business, that's awesome because you identify problems before they happen and you build systems to prevent bad things from happening. But in life, it's quite miserable. I had this night, I remember 3 years ago, I was sitting watching a movie with a friend and I just kept looping on anxious thoughts about work and business. And I didn't take my supplement I was supposed to take. And oh no, I'm not watching the movie. And so this person next to me is going to be mad at me when we talk about the movie after because I'm not going to know what happened. And I remember going like, okay, I have an anxiety problem. Like it's official. And I went to my doctor and I got SSRI. And I started researching it because I'm kind of like, again, I'm high anxiety. I'm a health nerd. And I start researching this and I realized that certain people are genetic super metabolizers of SSRIs. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I am a super metabolizer of this particular SSRI. So I got a different one. And then I waited a year. I had this SSRI sitting on my kitchen or my bathroom sink. It was taunting me and I was thinking like, oh my God, if I take this, am I going to take my edge away? Am I going to ruin my life? Am I going to be a zombie? Side effects. And finally, I started taking it and it was like, I didn't realize that people could just feel like that, right? Like I just felt like the volume on that voice in my head was turned down by like 40% and it was still there. I could still listen to it. You know, the one that was like, hey, you should take your vitamins and do all these things, but it wasn't torturing me. It wasn't driving me crazy. And what I think is interesting about this is I think a lot of people are very scared of taking SSRIs. And for me, at least, it was incredibly impactful. And I think a lot of people suffer from anxiety. But interestingly, this super metabolizer problem, I think, is much more broad than most people are aware of. Because I talk to a lot of people who take the kind of mainstream SSRIs and they say, oh my God, I instantly felt sick. I couldn't sleep. I had all these terrible symptoms. And I think a lot of those side effects could easily be explained by having like a big spike in your blood. And so basically what you can do for anyone who's listening, who's curious about this, you can go on 23andMe and you can check if you're a super metabolizer. And if you are, there's alternative drugs to take. And so I take a drug called vortioxetine and I have no side effects. I get a little upset stomach if I take it in an empty stomach, but I've had no other issues. And that is a freaking game changer for me.
There's also some obscure or relatively unknown supplements that are typically, I would never say supplements are going to outperform drugs in many circumstances, but saffron extract in particular, have you ever tried?
I have tried it, yeah.
How did it work for you?
I have like really bad acid reflux. And I actually felt awesome on it, but I was getting really bad acid reflux from it. But I've had quite a few friends, interestingly, that take saffron extract and have a really good time with it.
Yeah. So it is very important that you get a good standardized extract of it because not all saffron is the same. And I think we're the first company to put it in an energy drink. So yeah, really obscure ingredient, but it's super impactful on all the same metrics of antidepressants. I don't know, like endpoints that you would seek for having like a good drug, but with a relative lack of side effects, at least from the literature I've seen comparing. And it's even been used to attenuate SSRI-induced erectile dysfunction in people who are prone to it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That explains why the Persians are so happy.